Hi, this is Trin Johnson, and welcome to Dust in My Eye. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified for any future videos, hit that cute little bell. So I'm going to start by giving you a tour of this cute little notebook I have. I bought it in Muskegon last year, and I didn't know what I was going to put in it, and I decided to do gouache in it. Try the paper and see if it could handle it. And because gouache is it's a wet medium, but it is not like watercolor. I don't have to use and don't like to use a whole lot of water, so it was it worked pretty well on here, considering how thin. If you see, this paper is really very thin. It's not much more than printer paper, but anyway, it worked pretty well, and it's kind of cute, and I kind of had fun with it. So this is the first one I did. Apparently I did it in February because I have them dated. And then this one I did also in February. And then I did another one recently. It's a little, wants to stick to that one. And this little guy I did at the beginning of April. So today I'm going to do a path that I took a photo of when we were at Stony Creek last week. And before I start, I'm going to prep my paper by taping around the outside edges because I like the way it looks in this book. I'm just kind of doing that for all the pages in this book, at least for now. And just in case it tries to bleed through, if I decide to use something a little wetter, I made this little, I hope you can see it, this little piece of plastic, and I used my little punch to make, well, maybe that's better, just to make little punches out on it, so I could kind of stick it right up in there and put it between the pages. And then once I tape the edges, I can tape around and it will stay put, and it'll protect the page below it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to just pull out some tape. Because I'm not giving it a really wide border, I can cut this tape in two. And as long as I use the straight sides, it's good. Because I'm not real careful. So put that one over there. Put this one over here. Get that really snugged up there. All I'm going to do. Really simple. Oh, there's a puzzle. This is what happens when you have a lot of kitty cats in your house. Okay, now I'm going to get the other ends. Well, I'm going to get one of them. I don't know if I'm going to get the other one because I just messed that up. So let's try this one. Straight side. This side I cut. There we go. Now, is that long enough? There's no point in cutting this one because I can't use the other half anywhere anyway, at least not right now. By the time I do another one, who knows where that piece of tape will be. I'm not going to worry about it. So anyway, that's kind of kind of cute. And so we're all. So I moved things around a little bit and got in a little closer, so hopefully you can see. I'm going to pop the picture up in the corner so you can see what I'm painting. And I'm going to just rough it in a little bit just to get some ideas of where things are. There's my sky. There's the marsh back there. It just comes down a little bit and it's behind those trees, but it's there. Okay, and then right about here, I'm going to, you know what? I'm a little low. I'm going up a little bit because I'm looking at this. Let's make that. Let's make that the bottom, and then we'll do this as our line where our road is, because I was getting a little close to the bottom, a little closer than I wanted. My paper is not quite the same proportion as the photograph. Such a pretty day. It was just evening when we were walking and taking these pictures. We had gone out and painted, my husband and I, and my daughter was with us. And the sun was just thinking about setting. There were deer and there were herons. There was a nesting heron that I got the coolest pictures of. And there was a beaver, although the beaver, all we could see of the beaver was him swimming in the water, and it was really hard. I tried to get a picture, but he was too quick. And ducks, of course, lots and lots of different ducks. So, all right, there's another bunch of trees up here, but I'm not going to worry about those right now. So just a loose idea of what I'm doing. I'm going to squirt my paint. I do have a lot of it, although this is my good paint. And these three, I don't know if you can even see them. I don't know if they're in the shot. These three are good ones also, and these are kind of cheaper, but they were a little different colors, and I thought, well, if I really want that color, I'll have it, although I don't tend to use them very much, but I thought I would put them out there because these three are in that same container. I'm not sure if I'll use them either. Anyway, I'm going to put out some white. When you paint in watercolor, you tend not to use white. White is like, in some circles, it's a no-no, but it's just something you don't tend to use because it just makes your colors chalky, and it kind of makes them pale in a chalky way. Whereas in watercolor, you want the translucent quality of the watercolor. So you tend to thin it down to get lighter colors. Whereas in gouache, you use white. And it takes a little bit getting used to when you're a watercolor painter. The other thing I found being helpful the other thing I found this one is helpful, is being a pastel artist also helps, I find, with my gouache, because when you're using pastels, you tend to go from darker to lighter. When you're a watercolor painter, you have to go from lighter to darker. So with gouache, you can do the same as you do with pastels and go start with the darker colors and move your way lighter. It also, you can go over top of things. So when you're painting in pastels, a lot of times you'll hear people talk about sky holes, and that is something that you can do in gouache also. You can have your sky holes, and when I get to the trees, I will try to remember to kind of show you what I'm talking about there. So I'm just trying to get a nice blue for my sky. I'm trying to develop a painterly kind of style with my gouache, and so that makes it a little different too than some of my earlier pieces, or some things that ways I've approached it before. But this is such a tiny little thing that we'll see how it goes. I am going to mix it a little bit on my paper. Don't want to completely obliterate. See, I just touched the water. Don't want to completely obliterate my drawing underneath. What I like about gouache is the matte kind of quality of it. And you don't get that with acrylics. With acrylics, it's shiny. This is designer's gouache. It's not acrylic gouache. It's it isn't going to, the layers don't dry fast. They don't dry solid, don't dry unmovable. With acrylic gouache, when your layer dries, it's dry. With this kind of gouache, when your layer dries, you can still manipulate it. You can, in fact, that's kind of something you have to watch out for, is not having too wet of a next layer, or you're going to disrupt the layer below it. Which, if you like to have that option of that, then this is a good one for you. If you'd rather that each layer you put down was just like set in stone permanent, then you might want to look at the acrylic gouache. I can say that word. I can talk. Just apparently not very much, not today. So the other thing I've learned in all my years is it may seem dumb, but even if you're looking in your picture and it seems like your sky is one color and the water is a different color, like a lot of times where I am, the water looks rather green, you still have to have a hint of that sky color in your water, because it's reflecting the sky. And if it's not there, believe me, I've done this, it looks strange. It just looks strange. It's like, why is the sky so purpley blue and the water is turquoisey, greeny, muddy blue, and they just look like I've tainted two different pictures. And so anyway, so I like to get that in while I'm working on it. And it doesn't have to be get some paper towel. It doesn't have to be just that color. I'm not saying that it needs to be exactly the same. I'm just putting a base layer down of that color so that I know that underneath it, peeking through, is this essence of the sky color. And I'm going to give it a little more. since it's just peeking out there, this is really not the focus of my picture, so I think I want a little bit of a little white. And that's just poking through. Okay. And in pastel, you tend to work like sometimes top to bottom, front to back to front, dark to light. Sometimes those are all the same, sometimes they're not. I'm gonna try a little, mix a little of the brown that I know I'm gonna want. And what I am going to do too is I mix too much of this, so I don't really need all that blue taking up palette space right now. Okay. Now sometimes you can put down a layer like a light wash, add more water to your gouache and add do like a light wash background like you would in pastels, sometimes an underpainting kind of thing. And that's kind of a nice way to do it too, to start. But this is so small and my paper is not really watercolor or water friendly, I was saying. So in this instance, I didn't really think that was what I wanted to do. I'm gonna add a little white. It's so against a watercolor person that paints in watercolor. It's so against our nature to add white to your paint. It just so does not seem right. But in this instance, it's really very much part of the system, part of the way that this paint works, so gotta get over it. Some gray. A lot of gray. There's a little bit of pink in that gray that I'm trying to do the path. Maybe a little more rosy kind of color. Don't remember what exactly the names of these ones are. this palette. I used to know off the top of my head at one point, but right now I could not tell you. A little white to it. A little more dark. What do I want? Now I think I'm going to do a light kind of too much water. Dirt kind of color over here as a base. So it's kind of dark over here where the leaves are on top. A little bit of shadow over here. This side has the sun shining. Little bits of sunshine. Just trying to get an idea of where these trees are again. This one is definitely light. I like to shake kind of while I do these back trees because it gives them more of a carefree kind of stylized, I don't know, and unstylized at the same time. Just looks more less contrived, let's put it that way. I was trying to just make trees that without drawing every single branch in. And if I just drag it, it works really pretty well. I'm probably going to have to go over the light parts again so that they're in front, because I just did that on the wrong side of the tree. Okay, I love this little teeny guy. Well, this is still wet. Just get the branches where the light is kind of hitting it at the water's edge before it gets into the dark part of the woods. When I think of painterly style, I think of it as not painting every branch, every item you see in great detail as it stands, just the way it looks. I tend to think it kind of means just painting some of it and letting that speak for the rest of it. If that makes any sense. Okay, let's add a little light to this. Probably put out too much white. I do that a lot. The other thing I try not to obsess about, and this one is really, really hard for me, I tend to always want to paint things in local color, exactly the same shade as I'm seeing it in my photograph, or as I'm seeing it if I'm doing en plein air, just the way I'm seeing it. And I have to just rein myself in and say that, you know, it doesn't have to be that way. I don't need to worry. If I don't have that exact shade of whatever color, I can't mix it, it isn't working. Do I really want that exact shade of whatever? Maybe I want to use my artistic license and change it, or maybe it just looks better if I don't do it the way it is. So sometimes I really have to stop myself from trying to do that. This, I would like a little bit of pink. want to use a dry brush kind of technique. So I'm going to wet it and I'm going to dry it off. And I'm going to try that. I'll do a little over there too so that it doesn't look like a different forest on the other side, although in the picture it is rather much a different kind of forest on the other side. Let's get some brown in there. In some ways it's nice to paint in such a tiny format because you kind of have to let yourself not get too particular because it is so tiny, and so you can kind of just let yourself say, well, that's an impression of what it is, and leave it at that without feeling like you have to paint every detail, and that's kind of a nice thing. Shadows of trees on this side, so I'm trying to make them look like that. Okay, let's see, we need something. And I'm missing a spot in there. I'm probably going, when is she going to paint that part in the middle? A little darker. Okay, I would like to just play a little bit more with my trees. Get them a little less gray, a little more brown. Just want to get a little bit of highlights over here. Kind of have like dappled light on them, so I'm trying to get that kind of a feel. Down here there's some. Here. That was more than I wanted, but this is definitely lighter over here, and there is some real highlights where the sun is coming. Over here there's some, and over here there's some. Over in here. Just really kind of want to get that idea of the little light where it is, because that makes it kind of cool. Okay, I think I'm going to do just a tad more on the leaves up front. Trying to figure out how to get what color I want. Okay, think that's close enough. It says, tells me where I was, gives me that impression. So I am going to peel off the tape. I have found I have way more success with tape peeling if I heat it up with a dryer. So I might mute ya, but I'm going to try and get the dryer to work here. Let's try that and see if that helps or if I have to do it as I do it. Here, maybe over here. There we go. That helped. A few little dots. That's okay. There we go. Wow, it makes such difference when you do that, doesn't it? It's like all the hard work pays off. That nice little thing. Kept my page nice and clean. When I do these, I like to sign them over here. And the date over here. It is for, what is today? 26. I think that's it. Nope, 22. Oh, I did it different. Oh, well. And I hope you could see that. I'm going to bring it up here. And until next time, thanks for watching. Be sure to visit my Etsy shop, where I have prints of my artwork along with cute little monsters for sale. See you next time.